The room was still. Prince Harry stood at the podium, calm and composed, until a voice suddenly broke through the silence. "Where's the mic? Give me the mic." Every head turned. And then, without warning, Meghan Markle walked onto the stage. No cue, no introduction, just pure determination. She brushed past security, eyes locked on Harry. He froze. For years, he'd always stepped aside, handed her the spotlight. But this time, he didn't move. Harry kept the mic, his jaw tight, his tone steady as the crowd watched in disbelief. The silence that followed was deafening. No cheers, no polite applause, just tension thick enough to cut through. That tiny refusal said everything, a public moment that flipped their dynamic in front of the world. And what happened next made that silence feel like the calm before the storm. Meghan stood beside Harry, smiling through the tension. Her hand rested on his back, the silent signal that always meant "pass me the mic." But this time, Harry didn't budge. His grip tightened. His voice stayed calm, steady, controlled. The crowd could feel it. Something was off. What was supposed to be a polished, united appearance suddenly felt like an argument playing out in real time. Meghan's smile faltered, her eyes darting toward him, waiting for acknowledgement that never came. Seconds dragged on like minutes. The audience froze, not angry, just indifferent. And in the world of royalty, indifference cuts deeper than hostility. Finally, Meghan took a small step back. The move was subtle, but the meaning was clear. For the first time, she wasn't the one commanding the stage. That moment, barely a few seconds long, exposed a shift no one could ignore. The man who once stepped aside was now standing firm. And the woman who once controlled the spotlight had just lost it. But the real story didn't end on that stage. What happened after the lights dimmed would make this moment look tame in comparison. By morning, the awkward silence had vanished, at least on TV. Major outlets ran glossy photos of Meghan and Harry smiling side by side, as if nothing unusual had happened. The clips were trimmed, the tension erased. To the casual viewer, it looked like another flawless royal moment. But online, a very different story was spreading. Unedited footage began surfacing. Meghan stepping up, Harry holding the mic, the crowd frozen in silence. No music, no applause, just raw, uncomfortable truth. Within hours, those clips went viral. Millions watched what mainstream media refused to show. The contrast was impossible to ignore. Two versions of the same event, one polished, one painfully real. Critics accused the press of protecting Meghan's image. Supporters insisted it was all exaggerated. But the question lingered. If this was edited, what else had been hidden? Because this wasn't just about one moment. It was about control, who shapes the story, and who gets to decide what the world sees. And behind that curtain of edited footage, something much darker was already brewing. What the cameras missed, insiders didn't. That tense moment on stage didn't fade with the applause. It followed them off stage like a shadow. Sources say Meghan was quietly moved to a side seat for the rest of the night, close enough to be seen, but far from the spotlight she once owned. The message was subtle, but unmistakable. She'd been sidelined. Observers noticed it instantly. Her smile looked forced, her posture tight. Harry mingled, shaking hands, while Meghan clapped at the right times but rarely spoke. For someone used to commanding the stage, that silence was its own humiliation. By the end of the evening, whispers had already begun. Some called it a power play, others a warning shot. Either way, the shift was undeniable. For the first time, Meghan wasn't being ignored, she was being managed. And that quiet demotion marked the start of something bigger. Because the next moves didn't come from Meghan or Harry, they came from the palace itself. While Meghan dealt with the sting of being sidelined, the palace played its own quiet game. Within hours, headlines began to clash. Some outlets framed Harry as a respected prince, treated with royal formality. Others painted him as a man stripped of privilege, no longer welcome in the fold. It wasn't sloppy reporting, it was strategy. By keeping Harry's status blurred, the palace kept the story alive. Every event became a guessing game. Would he be honored as royalty or ignored as an outsider? Either way, the headlines kept coming. Meghan's presence only fueled the cycle. Her every move brought attention, clicks, and controversy. And Buckingham Palace knows the value of both fascination and outrage. They've used it before. It's the same tactic once used with Sarah Ferguson. Keep them close enough to stay relevant, but far enough to never regain power. For the palace, ambiguity is control. For Meghan, it's chaos. But while the institution played chess in public, something far more personal was unraveling in private. Behind closed doors, the silence turned into something deeper, a quiet tug-of-war between Harry and Meghan. Insiders whisper that Harry longs for pieces of the life he left behind. He's spoken about wanting his children to experience the traditions he grew up with, the schools, the structure, the heritage that once defined him. But Meghan reportedly has no interest in raising their kids anywhere near that royal world. For her, California means freedom. London means control. What should have been a simple family choice has become a symbol of something bigger. Tradition versus independence, duty versus identity. And just like on that stage, neither side is willing to step back. Those who know them say Harry's growing restless, frustrated with being caught between two worlds. Meghan, on the other hand, seems determined to build one entirely her own. The result? A quiet standoff where even their children have become part of the struggle. And if that moment with the microphone revealed anything, it's that the cracks aren't just public, they're personal. But this story doesn't end here. Because the next revelation goes beyond royal tension. It reaches into Meghan's own past, with a hidden family twist that reportedly left Harry completely speechless. That moment on stage wasn't just about a microphone. It was a glimpse behind the curtain, the kind of raw, unfiltered tension that no palace photo could ever hide. For years, Harry stood behind Meghan, supporting her spotlight. But in that single, silent refusal, the balance shifted. The man who once stepped aside finally stood his ground. And the woman who once commanded the room found herself facing a silence louder than applause. It wasn't just an awkward scene, it was a turning point. Proof that the cracks in their partnership are no longer whispers, but visible fractures for the world to see. Because if this much tension plays out in public, imagine what's happening when the cameras stop rolling. And it doesn't end here. The next chapter dives even deeper into a secret from Meghan's past that insiders claim left Harry completely stunned. It's a story that connects directly to everything you just heard, and it changes everything.